Hey, John Medina in Los Angeles.
That's right.
Yeah,
San Pedro, California.
yeah, and Claude Diamond in San Diego.
Right.
John, you just told me some good news here on April the 7th, 2016. You just did two deals.
Two deals this week.
I love it, man. To share it with us for a moment.
Well, the first deal was in Hawthorne, California, and a guy called me off one of my
They have a good
internet
In-N-Out
ads.
burger in Hawthorne.
Yeah, there is actually it's real close to that. Not too far from there, about a couple miles away. So a
Always
guy called
talk.
me.
um,
So a guy called me from it's interesting. I was going to the desert with my family to take a few days off, and I got a call on my answering service, Pat Live, that somebody called in and they hung up. So I get notification. So I called the guy back, and he was just telling me that he had his mother-in-law's house in Torrance, and that he was lining up three people to come meet with on Sunday. One at 10, one at 10:30, and I was going to be the 11 o'clock if I wished to take it. And he's going to sell this house cash as is, and he just wants to get rid of it. And if I'm there at 11, I just basically told him, like, I can't be there at 11. I'm in the desert with my family, but if you want to give me the address, I'll be back on. I asked, when are you going to make a decision? He says, well, by next Friday. I says, hey, I have no problem going out there when I get home on Tuesday, taking a look at it. I'll make you an offer blindly on it. So that's what I did. I went and took a lot, climbed the fence, and took a look at it and wrote him an offer. And he kind of gave me the little heads up on where I needed to be. So I kind of wrote the offer accordingly and ended up getting a deal out of it. So
wow.
kind of good.
What's your intent? What do you intend to do with this deal?
Well, as little as possible, since I'm a rehab.
Great answer. You gonna quick flip it?
In the past, I would basically buy these houses and go full bore and take everything down to rip everything out. But it's a unique situation. This is a hot area that people are dying to get into because of the schools, and the market's hot out there. So I met with an agent on Monday when I did my first little home inspection. Yeah, she told me just to put some paint and carpet in there, leave the ugly kitchen and the bathrooms, and just clean up the weeds and let's throw a sign on it. So I'm just gonna, and I structured the deal that way. Anyways, there's not a lot of room to do a lot of work, but the area is so hot. I went up on my offer a little bit to get it, and I'll still probably make this, hopefully make the same profit by doing a little instead of a lot.
Can you tell us round numbers what that profit would be?
I'm hoping to at least get 50,000-60,000 out of it.
Okay, and how much money did you? This is an all cash deal, or you?
Yeah, it was all cash deal. Bought it for 605. At first, I figured it was worth 8. I thought it was going to be worth about 8, and put about 60 into it.
Yeah.
So it's. I was going to be at my first offer was going to be 585. It wasn't going to get it done. He told me I needed to be in the low 6s.
Okay, but you realize that people in Ohio and other places who are hearing these numbers, okay, we're not talking 60,000, we're talking 600,000.
Yeah, 605,000.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The thing is, in California, we're used to those prices. They're very high compared to other parts of the country, except for maybe New York or San Francisco. And the thing is, the demand is very strong. I'm finding in certain areas of Southern California.
Yeah, and that's a great point you brought up, because in this area in particular, this is basically the last house in Hawthorne before it goes to El Segundo,
right? Which
is a beach city, and Manhattan Beach, which is another beach city that the property values are just through the roof. So people are they're moving into this area because of, first of all, the school district, and you're theoretically, Hawthorne is maybe more of a it's not really a high end area, but it's in this part of Hawthorne is isolated by the 405 freeway, so it's west of that area, and people just cannot wait to get in this area. So people will basically they'll pay a little bit. The houses around there are going for 8, all fixed up. Someone will pay $750 to get in that area so the kids can go to school, and the house is on the corner. It's on the corner. It's a busy corner, but people will get into schools. They're gonna overlook all that stuff.
You have brought up such an important point that I often talk about. I call it marketability. Okay, it's near the good school district. It's near the trolley station. Okay,
yeah.
It's near somewhere where the demand is so high. We have a property in San Diego. And we picked it up for 160. I think it's worth about 550, 600,000 now, because it's near 2 schools. The kids can just walk to school. They don't even have to get on a school bus. Parents don't have to worry about dropping them off or anything. They can literally walk to the school area.
and that's what's huge in that area. And there's a school across the street that's a good school, but they're actually going to tear it down and put a soccer field. So the school that's because they're building a new high school down the street. So yeah, it's interesting. And like you said, here in LA, I'm finding out with these train stations, there's certain parts of downtown LA where the train's moving into the metro, and these areas are hot. People actually, I want to drive somewhere. I don't want to take the train. A lot of people want to take the train, and I don't blame
Especially
them.
young people today, they want to move back into the inner city. They want to be near the trolley station or the bus thing. They want to get out, walk from their apartment to the coffee shop or wherever. We're seeing all that. Let me ask you something. On this particular property, aren't the taxes going to be a killer for you?
Well, it could be, but I don't plan on owning it very long.
Oh,
so
okay.
Taxes are just, but that's a funny question. I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah.
I got a whole stack of taxes on my other desk over here because of the LA County tax assessor can't keep up because you buy these properties on a Monday and you sell them on a Friday. I'm getting tax bills from all the because I'm a rehabber, a flipper. I get these. I'm getting tax bills from people from they're not even on my tax bills, and I don't have the time to get to the bottom of them right now because it's a pretty confusing system, especially when you call the city.
Do we still have a 5-year grace on taxes in San Diego, in California, don't we?
I'm not too sure about that.
Basically, if you don't pay if your taxes aren't included in escrow and you got to manually pay your taxes and you don't pay them, it's 5 years before they take a legal action.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that I get are unsecured. So they're properties that I've sold, and they're assessing me after the fact.
Yeah.
So they really don't go against the people that bought the property. They're going to come after my corporation. So I got to be real careful that I deal with these things because if I don't, I'm going to. And the only time they're going to come after me is probably in 10 years, and then they're going to have all these judgments against me with tons of interest on it. So it's and good luck trying to call the county right now to get an answer on these things.
Oh, it's like DMV or anything else in California. Yeah. All our stuff is like that. But I find it very interesting. You found the deal. You made the offer on the deal. You studied the environment there near the schools. You come from a construction background. And so you know who to hire, how much it costs, X amount of dollars for the repair. And
right.
And on the conservative side, you're going to pick up $40,000 to $60,000 on the low end.
Right, and the market right now in California, especially in some of these areas, are so hot. Generally, I would like, like I said, my first initial offer, according to my calculator here, was $585. But I had to look at the deal where it's like, well, I'm going to probably go up to $605 and make $20,000 less. But it's such a good area. It's such a hot market. It's going to sell so fast. I'd rather have $20,000. Instead of say making $80,000, I make $60,000. I'm okay with that because I'm still making money. If I was really stuck on my calculator and doing, don't budge off this and stick where you are, I wouldn't have got the deal because I would have said, well, here's $585, and the guy would have said, well, you know what, you came in second. Good luck.
Let me ask you something. Okay, you've been in business for a while, and you're a prudent conservative investor, and you put away you saved your pennies to be where you are today. If someone new who doesn't have the resources like you do, but has the smarts like, if you were starting out today and you didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, how would you do the same deal?
Well, this deal, I don't think,
Could you have gotten it under a contract, I guess, and then wholesale it to another investor real quick?
That's exactly what you would want to do.
Dangerous investing, I call it,
Yeah, I mean, you basically would get it under contract and try to sell it to someone else as fast as possible. And I think that's what a lot of these gurus are telling you to do is basically get out there, get it under contract. Don't worry. Well, I read something today from Justin Williams, a guy that I'm in a mastermind group with, and he runs a big group, and people are getting caught up in the money. How do I get the money? Like, where am I going to find the money to fund this deal? He's like, look, don't worry about the money. Just get the deal under contract. If you can't find the money, then wholesale it.
Exactly.
If you want to be a rehabber, well, you're going to. I hate to say it, but if you want to be a rehabber, you're going to have a little bit of money. Yeah, I would think. Now,
here's where a lot of people have a problem. People aren't stupid. They'll do a deal with you, but they want something down right away. So how would you get around that? I have an answer for that. And I wanted to see what would you do?
Well, interesting. These people, this is like almost a standard deal as far as like an MLS deal, like a realtor deal, because I did an inspection yesterday. I had to actually type up a piece of paper, that said that I waived my inspection contingency. I've never done that before.
Why?
They're pretty savvy. That's what they want to make sure that there's nothing wrong with the house. And they want to move forward. So I typed up a real simple document. I even misspelled it. It was funny because I put instead of putting NO, I put do, and they freaked them out a little bit. So if I fixed it already, it was no big deal. But it just goes to show you, I got a D in English. I told them I'm not very good at English. I'm better at math.
New York City school system here.
Yeah. But what happened was, to get around what were we talking about? Getting around the deposit.
Yeah.
I don't really even. I have another deal. Another deal I have in Covina. I didn't tell the guy about a deposit. What deposit? He didn't ask for it. I didn't really put anything in escrow.
You know one way to get around that whole thing? Because if someone says, okay, John, I'll do the deal and everything, and say you didn't have the money right now and you knew you got a couple investors you can call, you basically say, well, what do you want me to put down? I'll call my attorney. I'll have my attorney open escrow, and I'll send him a check for $20,000 pending closing. Okay? Now, you instruct your attorney, hold the check. Don't cash the check.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Never lie, but be
creative.
Yeah.
Escrow. Just give him a $20,000 check as an earnest money deposit, but cash it.
Most people will not say, is that actual liquid? Is that a liquid cash deposit? They won't go that much into detail on it. Yeah. And this is borrowing from Peter to pay Paul School of Economic Reasoning for people who just get started. But this is the real world. To get started, you got to hustle, you got to be creative, you got to get it in writing, and you got to dig for another person and take the short money so you make some money. And I feel if you do enough small deals, and eventually you're going to be the investor, the player.
Right, and I think it depends on what you're trying to get out of this. If you just want to be a wholesaler, it's great because you can do this with no money down. But you're going to have to be good at sales, and that's why you got to
be superb at sales.
Yeah.
Because if you're just adequate, man, you're going to get killed.
Exactly, and that's why I work with Claude because as you can see behind that, there's a phone number, but he answers the phone, and that's a big thing too. Because here's a good example of what I learned from Claude. I did not answer the phone live. I have an answering service, but they didn't leave their name or they left their phone number on caller ID because we capture that through the answering service.
Call them right back.
Does a great job. So I call them right back right away.
Yeah.
People say, "Wow, you called me right back." Well, this guy, I didn't even know his name. I just said, "Hi, this is John Medina. You called my office. How can I help you?" "Oh, well, blah, 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 blah." And I ended up making a deal with him. So it just goes to show, even though he didn't want to leave his name, by me capturing his name, his caller ID, calling him back, I got a deal from him. And if I would have just said he wasn't interested, I wouldn't have got anything. We wouldn't be talking about this right now.
And you're bringing up a good point. People are scared to leave their information because they don't know who they're calling. They talk to so many people who are unprofessional or Looney Tunes or just give me your property. I'm not going to give you anything back because there's too many unsophisticated people coming from seminars who don't know how to relate to other people. And they're not stupid. And but they want someone who's reasonable, who gets back to them, someone they can trust. They'll give you the deal you want, not always, but if they feel that you're a guy who can follow through and you keep your word.
Right, and that's the thing with these people. They actually qualified me, and I think the guy works for a car dealer. He had access to information, so he qualified me. He's pretty savvy, this guy, and I appreciate his effort because he qualified me. I have a friend that loans me money. And that's why I could do it for a little bit more because I get favorable treatment.
That's a good friend to have.
He's a really good friend, and he's easy to work with. And I have a letter from him, and they qualified him through their access. Probably they have access to some ways to dig up names and stuff like that. So so this situation might not have worked for a wholesaler. Why? Because they wanted proof of funds. They wanted to earn $5,000 earnest money. When I opened escrow, I used this trick I learned from you. Instead of talking to them on the phone, I used FaceTime, and I talk to the mom that lives in Corona. I was able to talk.
Makes
to her
a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, and we're comfortable with each other. We're moving forward. I did my inspection yesterday. I wrote him an email. The email, like I said, I had a typo, but then what I also did is I just wrote him a letter. I signed it because I could tell they were very savvy. So I wrote him an email with an attachment, signed it, went to escrow and handed them the paper and forwarded them a document. They're tickled pink. They're happy because now it's documented. I signed it. It's a legal document. We're moving forward.
John, you're a wealth of information. If someone wants to find a way to do business with you or has a deal or something like that in California, how do they find you?
Well, that's great. You can reach me on my cell phone number, which I always answer, this is my direct number. This is the best way to get a hold of me. It's 310 748-4822, and you can look me up on my website, which is johnmedinabuysHouses.com.
Yeah, you're a real investor. Tell us quickly, because we're almost out of time. Tell me quickly about the other deal you did.
The other deal is interesting. It was another internet deal. I got a call on Sunday night from a gentleman, and he gave me a call, and he left his he filled out all the form on the website. He didn't call me. He opted into the website, so I called him right back and waited to hear back from him. He called me back about an hour later and spoke with him, and wanted to sell his house. He inherited it from his mom. She passed away about a year ago. He had all the paperwork. He's good to go. Probate's done. He wants to sell the thing. So I set an appointment with him on Monday at about 10:30. Drove out to Covina, California. Met with him and his wife. Made him an offer. He didn't like the first offer I made him. So his wife's pregnant. This is a great one. His wife's pregnant. We're talking back.
Does this mean pregnant in Braille?
I mean, ready.
Oh, okay.
Sitting there, and next thing you know, what's going on? I'm writing a deal out on the trash can. They don't like my first offer. I kind of threw out like 288 just to kind of, and then afterwards I thought, what am I doing? This doesn't even make any sense what I did. Well, let's see what happens.
You can't hurt to try, right?
Did some better math at 305. It was better math.
Okay.
I mean, I gave them something they didn't like. They were, so I didn't want to leave. I wanted to make sure I could give them something legit. Well, give them an offer at 305. They wanted to think about it. I said, okay, great. How long do you need to think? The guy says, I need to think till like, can I sleep on it? And I says, well, you can if you like, but I got some other deals going. If you sleep on it, my money might be gone. So he said, all right, I'll give you a call by 6 o'clock tonight. No problem.
See, I like that.
At 6 o'clock.
I like the hard appointments. I'm big on that.
I mean, this is it. So 6 o'clock comes, no phone.
Take it away, and you took it away from him. Good for you.
Yeah, then I called him back at 6 o'clock. I said, hey, I haven't heard back from you. He says, John, you'll never believe what happened. My wife is in labor. Now this woman is having a baby. And I said, hey, no problem. You call me when you're ready. I mean, you let me know when you're ready. I'm good right now. Just take care of your family. And I stroke and nurture.
Stroke and nurture. See, I was waiting for you to say, oh, congratulations and stroke and nurture.
Yeah.
Because now you're John Medina, the human being.
Right, which is that's who I really am. So I was really.
Yeah, but they don't know that. See, that the trouble is we're in an H to H, a human-to-human business, but we sound like some kind of friggin' robot. This is why I'm against these automated systems or third parties doing our negotiating and calling, because there's no substitute for John speaking to a man. His wife is having a baby. He made him an offer. You're indelibly imprinted on his brain now. You're the guy he likes, he trusts. You're getting closer and closer. You're getting that affinity between the parties. It might be another guy in the background with a higher offer, but he doesn't know him or trust him or like him. He might do the deal for a few $1,000s less with you just because he likes that relationship.
Yeah, and that's what, because honestly, too, I did care about his wife and his baby. Because he said the baby's born. I said, hey. We've all
been there, yeah.
My wife when we had our child, it was like the last thing I wanted to do.
If you needed to,
plumbing business,
but if you needed to buy more time, it'd be a great lie, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But the guy was upfront.
Honey, you're pregnant again.
And he told me, he says, no, we need to get this done. I'll call you back in the morning. He called me back and he said, how about 310? And I didn't, for a guy that just had a baby and there's some money on the table, I'm okay at 310.
Okay.
There's nothing out there.
And you're going to do the same thing, or you're going to rehab it a little, or just flip it, or
just paint and carpet. This is actually.
I love paint and carpet. It's so easy.
Simple.
You just write a check and it's done.
Yeah, it's done. It's going to be real easy. So I said, you know what, Paul, I don't know. You just had a baby to consider it your gift. But I asked him. I says, if I give you 310, can you sign this document? Within when can you sign the document and give it back to me so we can open escrow?
Yeah. And no residue from the diapers on the contract either.
And he told me, he said, hey, you know what, I'll get back to you, and I'm going to sign it right now. I'm on my way home to pick up some clothes. I'll get it right back to you. We open escrow. That's where we're at.
There you go. John, you're a wealth of information and motivation. Thank you for sharing these stories with everybody.
No,
this is great. You're a real investor, man. You're a real thing. And people know that, it's a business, it's a people business, and you have the ability to, you know how to communicate with people and make offers, and, you can't just sit around waiting for the phone to ring. You got to be very proactive, and you're doing that.
Yeah, you do, and you got to test things, and you got to you got to answer your phone, and you have to be communicating. You just have to be. I think the best takeaway from all this is you just have to be yourself. I got both of these deals because I was just who I am. I'm not trying to sell anybody something they don't want. I gave them the time for them to think about it. But then I also made sure that they got back to me when they had to get back to me. So it worked out great.
John, I got to wind this up, and thank you so much for sharing all this with everybody.
Thank you, Claude.
Take care.
Thank you.